What is going on, everybody? WeedleTwineedle here, and we are backing up with an Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon Wi-Fi battle, and this one's going to be a PU Wi-Fi battle against Bacon. Now, there's been a lot of new drops in the PU tier. I think Scyther, Frostlass, Aromatisse, Altaria, Omastar, and Qwilfish, all of those Pokemon dropped down to PU, and those are some pretty solid Pokemon, which will definitely influence the tier a decent amount, but I also think none of them will get banned, which is pretty cool, so it looks like they're here to stay. Maybe not Omastar, because Omastar seems a little broken. So I'm using a pretty cool team. I honestly just threw this team together. I put Meowstic on this team in preparation for Qwilfish, and my opponent doesn't have a Qwilfish, so that's unfortunate. So let's just hop right into this battle against Bacon. His name's kind of weird. It's like Bay, and then he has Ken. Does he get the hots for Bacon? Like, I don't know. But I lead off with my Spherical, my Electrode, as my opponent is up with the Frostlass, and I know my opponent's likely gonna go for Spikes, though I don't want to go for Taunt and have him go for like Ice Beam, so I just go for Thunderbolt instead to break his Focus Sash immediately to scout out what he wants to do. Unfortunately, we get Cursed Body immediately, so it's going to disable my Thunderbolt, as my opponent does go for a Lair Spikes, which is pretty unfortunate for me because now, you know, entry hazards are fair and balanced. So I'm going to decide to go for the Taunt and make it so my opponent cannot use any more entry hazards, because entry hazards are fair and balanced, and I did not bring I-Defogger despite the fact there was like 3 new Spike users in the PU tier. Whoops. And now my opponent's going to bring in the Lurantis here, as I'm just going to decide to go for Reflect, because I am a dual screen Electrode, because this Electrode I did transfer from Generation 1 and taught it both Light Screen and Reflect, because that's pretty cool, and dual screens are very useful. On a fast one like Electrode pretty much always gets the dual screens off, so my opponent's going to go for a Leaf Storm here, trying to chip me down, but after a Light Screen I should be able to easily live that, as we are, and we reveal, or the Lantros reveals it's not like offensive, because I felt like it would have done a little more damage there if he was offensive. But now I'm going to switch out of my Electrode and bring in my Fufutu, because I'm using Ariados after watching Fufutu's video. He inspired me, he motivated me to use Ariados. Unfortunately, my opponent misses the Leaf Storm there, but considering I quad resisted and I had Light Screen up, I'm going to assume that didn't matter. So my opponent's going to bring in the Regirock, and Regirock does counter my Ariados, but I do have the Focus Energy, which is pretty cool because Ariados does have the ability Sniper, which if you do get a crit, that crit freaking hurts. It freaking slaps people. So I'm going to go for the Ground Z move. Shaniqua's going to Earthbend, and Ariados is going to be cloaked in the Z Aura. We're going to go for Z Stomping Tantrum, and I'm really hoping that we can crit this Regirock so I can see just how much damage this actually does, because keep in mind, this is not stab, so I'm really hoping we crit here, because if we don't crit, this is going to do absolutely nothing. And as you can see, we crit that Regirock, and that did so much damage. We didn't quite OHKO, but honestly, I didn't expect me to OHKO that Regirock, because Regirock is like one of the bulkiest physical defense Pokemon in the game. So like, that's to be expected. So unfortunately for my opponent though, I have the Fell Stinger, and if I crit here, this should knock out Regirock, and what do you know? Focus Energy comes through, we get the crit, which means we're going to get +3 attack from that Fell Stinger. Absolutely beautiful. You can definitely see why I put that Guzma background, or Team Skull base in the background, because we're Guzma gonna go for the +3 Sucker Punch against the Scyther. He thought he would live, but girl, I got that crit +3 Sniper Sucker Punch on deck, so Scyther just gets OHKO'd. That was beautiful. We didn't even get to see Scyther do anything in this battle, but in comes the Frostlass, and my opponent goes for the Destiny Bond, and I figure my opponent was gonna try to seal my fate with the Destiny Bond, so I decided to go for Focus Energy instead to stall out the Destiny Bond turn, and I think double Destiny Bond is like double protect, so my opponent does try to go for double Destiny Bond. It fails, and I'm going to go for a Fell Stinger here, trying to knock him out and get +6 attack, but he lives at 1 HP. He literally lived at 1 HP, that's what my opponent told me, and that's really unfortunate because I wanted to Fell Stinger him and get a kill, but I couldn't quite do it. And here my opponent goes for the Icy Wind, but I expected my opponent to want to go for a Destiny Bond again, so I decided to go for the Focus Energy. My opponent, you know, outplayed me that turn, so well played on my opponent's part. I go for Sucker Punch here. I'm like, well, I don't know why. If he goes for Destiny Bond, it's not going to kill myself anyway. Thankfully, he just tried to attack me. We get a useless crit with Sucker Punch, and down goes the Frostlass. But now my opponent's going to bring in the Omastar, and this Pokemon's such a threat. I figure my opponent wasn't going to go for Shell Smash here. I just go for Sucker Punch because I know after the speed drop from Icy Wind, he'll outspeed me, and he's going to be able to knock me out with the Surf. But Ariados still got freaking 2 kills. No, 3 kills actually. 3 kills. Ariados got 3.5 kills. So hopefully Fufutu is proud of me because I use Stomping Tantrum and Ariados because of this video. So I love you, Fufutu. You guys should check out his channel, by the way. He's super freaking cool. I love Fufutu. His channel's way better than mine. But I'm going to go for HP Ground against this Omastar, and we're going to knock that that bitch out because we have HP Ground just for Broken Skuntank, which surprisingly did not make an appearance in this battle. My opponent's going to bring in the Lurantis here, and I don't really have a switch into Lurantis, unfortunately, so I'm going to go for a Calm Mind because I just want to go for a Calm Mind, get some chip damage off from this Lurantis, because my team kind of struggles to KO Lurantis, to be honest, because my team kind of sucks. I do have a Abomasnow, but I don't want to pivot into a Abomasnow in case he has superpower or something, so it does go for a Leaf Storm. He's going to get the special attack increase, and I don't think after a second Calm Mind I'll live the Lurantis' attack because, you know, Lurantis is just going to keep boosting, so I go for Stored Power here, do a little chunk of damage, but not all that much damage because my Meowstic has a lot of HP EVs. I don't think Meowstic has any special attack EVs, so my Meowstic's going to get knocked out by the Leaf Storm, and down goes Meowstic, but at the very least, I should be able to bring in a Abomasnow here and outspeed the Lurantis unless my opponent is running the maximum speed investment. So I'm going to bring in my Nunu here, my Abomasnow, nice League of Legends reference to any of you guys who played that cancerous game, even though this is not what the Yeti's actual name is apparently, but I never changed the Abomasnow's nickname, so it's still Nunu. The champion's name is Nunu, but the Yeti itself that it was named after is not actually named Nunu, which is like weird, but whatever. Gonna go for Blizzard and knock out the Lurantis. I don't even know why I went on about that because no one gives a shit about League of Legends, but Blizzard gonna knock out the Lurantis, and down goes Lurantis. My opponent has one Pokemon left, and it is the Fair and Balanced Mesprit. And since the Regirock was the Stealth Wrecker, I know this is probably offensive Mesprit, either Scarf or Calm Mind, or I don't even know what else Mesprit's run. They could probably run Choice Band as well if they really wanted to. I could just go for Ice Shard, knowing he's probably gonna outspeed me and knock me out with the Psychic type attack, but he ends up carrying Hidden Power Fire, which seems kind of weird because what does that even hit, like Ferroseed or something? And I think Ferroseed's NU now, so I don't know why he has HP Fire, but I understand if he didn't adapt to his moveset in time for the meta, which is definitely understandable because I don't even play by the meta. I just use whatever the hell I want. So I'm going to bring in Kecleon here, and it's going to be pretty hard to KO this Mesprit just because it's so damn bulky. So I'm going to go for a Fake Out just to do some good damage to it, as it did do a pretty nice chunk. And I do have the Sucker Punch, and I could knock him out with Sucker Punch if my opponent wants to outplay me there and go for like Calm Mind or something, whatever. I still have 3 mods left in between, you know, pivoting out of Kecleon, faking out again, faking, you know, switching out. You know what I'm going to do. I should be able to win this battle. My opponent just attacks me. We're going to knock him out with the Sucker Punch, and that's going to be the end of the battle. We're going to be able to defeat Bacon with a 3-0 victory. And Ariados did so much work in this battle, so shoutouts to Ariados. So that's going to be the battle against Bacon. However, we do have another battle for you guys today because I wanted to play another PU battle. So this is going to be a battle against Madison, and she's using more Pokemon that have dropped down to PU. She's using Quillfish, Yuxie. Hey, it's me from the future. And before you comment saying Yuxie isn't PU, both me and my opponent at the time thought that Yuxie was in PU because of a post that Antar made saying that Pokemon like Yuxie and Excelgor dropped down to PU, but I guess they're still in the NU tier because it was unofficial. So we apologize for that, but whatever. And Scyther as well, so some pretty cool Pokemon to see. And let's just hop right in this battle against Madison because it's a pretty good battle. This battle's a lot longer than the last one, so I apologize for that. I sped this one up a little bit more. So I lead off with my Electrode yet again, as my opponent is off with the Scyther, so I got a pretty good lead matchup here unless my opponent is Scarf Scyther. My opponent should be forced to switch out of his Scyther, so my opponent's going to switch out of the Scyther and bring in the shiny Yuxie.
Candy? Yeah! No! We got Yuxie! We got it! Dude! Oh my goodness!
So Yuxie comes in here. I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt just to do some chip damage against the Lemonhead, as we do not get a Paralyzed Axe, unfortunately. Yuxie actually takes a lot more damage than I anticipated, so I'm going to taunt the Yuxie here so my opponent can't go for them hazards, because entry hazards are le balance. So my opponent's going to switch out of the Yuxie and bring in Halloween, the Gourgeist, which is a pretty clever nickname for a Gourgeist. I wonder if this is Z Trick or Treat. I wasn't too sure, but I'm going to go for a Light Screen. May as well just get off my screens because screens are very nice. I don't think my opponent has a Defog to get rid of my screens, or Brick Break. Maybe the Hitmonchan has Brick Break, you never know. But I'm going to switch out of my Electrode and bring in my Nunu here, my Abomasnow, just so I can punish this Gourgeist because I can't really touch it with anything else on my team. My opponent somehow predicts this. He double switches out and brings in the Mufasa, the Pyroar. So that was a very nice double switch on my opponent's part. He punishes my Abomasnow switching, but I have Light Screen up, so it doesn't really punish me all that much, but that was a very good pivot on my opponent's part. Not pivot, that's not pivoting, that was just a punish double switch. Sorry, that was the wrong term there. Now I'm going to bring Kecleon here on the Fire Blast, and with Light Screen up and, you know, Kecleon's good Spit F, that we should be able to tank that as we live that very nicely. Keep in mind, I'm uninvested in Spit F, so we live that very, very nicely. And now my opponent's going to switch out of the Mufasa and bring in the Joey Fontaine, the Quillfish. Are you kidding me? You really nicknamed Quillfish after Joey? That's rude. So he's going to intimidate my Kecleon, and we're gonna go for Stealth Rocks just because my opponent has a Scyther. I mean, I want to penetrate the thing's booty hole with my Stealth Rocks. So I'm gonna go for Stealth Rocks, and Joey is gonna get buffeted by Hail. And Ducey is faster than me, but I'm figuring my opponent's either gonna go for a Lair Spikes or go for Scald. So I'm gonna switch out on my Kecleon and bring in my Charger, my Golem, because Golem looks like a big ass Charger, and my opponent is gonna go for a Lair Spikes because entry hazards are lay balance. It's a very nice playstyle. You get to turn your brain off and win the game, which is pretty fun, not gonna lie. So I love entry hazards. They're very, very fun to use and take a lot of skill and are a nice, healthy addition to the game. But without hazards, like switching would be way too broken. So it's understandable. But he's gonna Scald. And he's gonna burn me, which kind of sucks. We're gonna activate our weakness policy, but we are burned, and this was against my plan because I was gonna Rock Polish here, as you know, hit me with Scald and activate weakness policy. I thought he had Waterfall there, not Scald, but you know, it's unfortunate for your homegirl because now we're burned. And now I was gonna go for Earthquake and knock out this Quillfish. My opponent's gonna switch out and bring in the Hollow Weed instead. And I figured since my Golem's worthless now that I was burned, I figure I reveal my tech. I do have the Flail. I have Endure, Rock Polish, Weakness Policy, Flail, Golem, and I was trying to bait in this Gourgeist so I could one-shot this thing with Flail, but unfortunately, you know, my plan failed, and now my Golem's pretty much dead weight. So we did activate Weakness Policy though, so that is a victory in itself. Now I bring in Fufutu. I don't really know why exactly. Because I can't really hurt this Gourgeist, so I go for Focus Energy. I'm like, be afraid of me, I'm Gourgeist, I'm Ariados, but the Gourgeist don't give a fuck. We dodge Leech Seed because Fufutu is a god, but unfortunately, I have Fell Stinger as my strongest move to hit this thing. I do have Sucker Punch as well, but I get a lucky crit there, thankfully, but that did absolutely nothing, and he gets the Leech Seed off, and I'm not really doing anything against this Hollow Weed. Unfortunately, this is a losing battle for Ariados, but Ariados already got the spotlight in the previous battle. I was just hoping I can break through this Gourgeist a little bit, but my opponent has Leech Seed Protect, which is really annoying. He probably carries Will-O-Wisp as well, so this is definitely going to be a lost battle in my favor, but I'm still going to stay in here anyway just because like I need to chip this thing down any way I can because my team struggles to deal with it outside of the Bomb and Snow. So my opponent's going to switch out with the Gourgeist and bring in the Joey Fontaine yet again, the Quillfish, to intimidate me and pivot into my Ariados and get up more entry hazards. That definitely makes a lot of sense. I just go for Fell Stinger again because maybe I'll get like a super crit and then like knock him out, but we do get a crit. This Focus Energy is actually coming through. It's not a guaranteed crit, but it is a very high crit rate. I think it's like 66% chance. Correct me if I'm wrong because I may be wrong. I'm actually going to stay in here and go for another Lair Spikes, or my opponent's gonna go for a Lair Spikes. So I think that's the second layer. I'm gonna go for my Ground Z move. So Shaniqua's gonna Earthbend yet again, and Ariados is gonna go cloaked up in that Z move, and if we can crit this Quillfish with Tectonic Rage, this shit is gonna go down immediately. So gonna go for the Tectonic Rage. I'm really hoping we can crit this thing because without the crit, I don't think we're gonna kill this thing because it intimidates. So let's see. Tectonic Rage unfortunately does not crit, so Ariados eats that up, or freaking Quillfish eats that up from Ariados very nicely. And yeah, this Ariados is unfortunately like dead weight in this battle, but like, I mean, I already got spotlight in the last battle. I got like 3.5 kills, so can we complain? Not really. So unfortunately Fufutu is gonna go down, but hopefully Fufu was happy I used Ariados in the last battle and did very, very well. It was probably the MVP of that last battle. So now I'm gonna bring in Spherical, my Electrode, because I want to Thunderbolt this thing and knock him out. My opponent's going to switch out of the Quillfish and bring in the Little Mac, the Hitmonchan, because it will be able to easily live a Thunderbolt from my Spherical. But instead I go for a Light Screen just because I want my screens back up, because my opponent still has some monsters in the back. My opponent still has all 6 Pokemon, so I need some screens up if I want to have a shot of winning this game, because right now it's 4-6 and it's not really in my favor. My opponent's going to actually spin away the Stealth Rocks, and I'm at a bigger disadvantage because my opponent has Layers of Spikes up and I don't have shit to show for it besides some screens. So now I'm going to bring Golem as Death Fodder, as unfortunately it's not really going to be doing me much in this game, and my opponent just goes for Drain Punch and knocks out my Golem. So down goes Golem, and this Hitmonchan's actually looking like a problem just because Hitmonchan is pretty bulky for my team to deal with, and my team's kind of weak to fighting, unfortunately, so that's kind of unfortunate. But now I'm going to bring in my Cheese Cat, my Meowstic, and I'm thinking this Hitmonchan just set up fodder with screens up. My opponent's going to withdraw out of the Hitmonchan and bring in the Edgy Mantis, the Scyther, as I'm going to decide to go for Barrier to increase my defense a lot because I want to make sure I can live any attack from the Scyther. Even if he is Choice Band, I should eat this hit up for days. My opponent ends up being U-turn, so he's actually going to be able to pivot out, but you already know what's about to happen. We're going to
activate our weakness policy.
And I knew that U-turn would do absolutely nothing, though I was hoping he would be a Bug Bite variant, but we do find out he is U-turn, which is fine. He's going to bring in his Lemonhead, the Yuxie, as I just go for Calm Mind, expecting my opponent to either have U-turn or Bug Bite. I just went for Calm Mind so the Pyro could not revenge kill me very easily, so I felt like that just made a lot of sense. So I go for Calm Mind to get my offenses a little higher, and I go for Stored Power here against the Yuxie just to do some chip damage. But Yuxie is very, very bulky. It eats that up. My opponent goes for another U-turn to pivot out, so my opponent does have Death Fodder as well, which is good to keep in mind. My opponent's going to U-turn out and actually bring in the Mufasa, the Pyroar. After seeing how little damage that U-turn did, I can definitely understand when my opponent brings in the Pyroar, but I have a Calm Mind up and I have Light Screen, so Fire Blast is going to do absolutely nothing as well, and the Stored Power is going to obliterate this Mufasa. So down goes the Pyroar, unfortunately, for my opponent. And now my opponent's going to bring in the Joey Fontaine. This was a misclick because not only does, Quillfish lose to Meowstic, I actually put Meowstic on this team for Quillfishes. I'm not even going to lie. I ain't going to front. I put Meowstic on this team, so Intimidate gets punished by competitive, and it worked out, but my opponent actually misclicked in Quillfish, so I actually let my opponent pivot into Scyther intentionally, which is why I went for Hidden Power Ground there instead of Stored Power, because I felt kind of bad because I didn't want to win the game off of a misclick. So yeah, I let my opponent pivot into Scyther for free. It's not that big of a deal. My opponent's going to U-turn out and bring in the Lemonhead, the Yuxie, as Death Fodder, which definitely made sense. I probably should have predicted that and went for another Calm Mind Barrier, but whatever. I'm going to Stored Power and knock out the Lemonhead, the Yuxie, as down goes Yuxie. I know it's Yuxie, not Yuxie. I just want to trigger everybody on this video. But now my opponent's going to bring in the Scyther, and I do have Reflect up still. Actually, no, I think it just wore off. So U-turn's going to almost knock me out. We live at 6 health because this Meowstic is actually really bulky. I don't have any special attack investment. I have max HP and max speed, or some sort of EV spread like that. In comes the Quillfish, that's his name. And I just go get competitive from the Intimidate. So now we're at +6 special attack or some sort of ridiculous stat boost like that. And Stored Power is going to knock out the Joey Fontaine. So down goes my boy Joey, and down goes Quillfish. But now my opponent's going to be able to bring back in the Edgy Mantis, the Scyther, and Scyther does outspeed me, which is quite tragic. And U-turn's going to knock out my Meowstic. So down goes my Cheese Cat, but Cheese Cat definitely did what its name is intended to do. It definitely cheesed my opponent there. I got so many kills, which definitely brought this game back for me. It's still definitely winnable for me. It wasn't looking so good for me earlier, but now it is definitely winnable. I'm gonna bring in my Electrode here, my Spherical, and I don't really have a good way to beat this at my jam because the rest of my Pokemon on my team, Kecleon and Abomasnow, are weak to fighting and will get one shot, so I need to get up my screens yet again and try and chip this thing down with Electrode. My opponent's gonna go for Drain Punch. We're able to live thanks to Reflect, and I'm gonna decide to go for Thunderbolt as opposed to going for Light Screen just because my opponent only really has physical threats left, and I don't really need Light Screen in the scenario because my opponent only has physical threats left, and I want to get some chip damage off with Thunderbolt, and we do see he is like Assault Vested, I think, just because Thunderbolt did so little damage. So down goes my Electrode to the Drain Punch, but we do have the Aftermath, so we're able to chip him down a little bit more. And now I'm able to bring in my Geico, my Kecleon. I do have the Fake Out, as you saw from the previous battle, so I'm going to go for the Fake Out, freaking Clap Hitmonchan, and we do a nice chunk of damage because Kecleon is very bulky, or very powerful with Protean. It's also kind of bulky too, not that bulky, but it can definitely hold its own and pivot into some attacks. Gonna go for Sucker Punch here because I don't have Shadow Sneak, and my opponent actually lives on the edge and goes for Drain Punch. Imagine if I had Shadow Sneak there instead of Sucker Punch. I guess he knew that no one really runs Shadow Sneak on their Kecleon, so he's gonna knock me out with the Drain Punch. I used to run Shadow Sneak on my Kecleon though back in Gen 6, but I definitely learned my lesson. And usually you want more coverage moves or like Stealth Rocks or something, so yeah, I have Sucker Punch instead of Shadow Sneak, but if I had Shadow Sneak in that situation, I would have been on fire. But unfortunately, I'm able to bring in Abomasnow, and I'm really hoping Ice Shredder will be able to knock this thing out. Otherwise, I'm freaking donezo, because right now it's Abomasnow versus the world. Thankfully, Life Orb Abomasnow is able to knock out Hitmonchan, and Abomasnow should be able to clean this game up with Reflect Up. My opponent's going to bring in the Gourgeist here, the Hollow Weed, and we still have some turns of Reflect Up, and I don't think my opponent can win. He's going to Frisk, see where Life Orb, which doesn't really matter, and my opponent's going to go for Protect here for no apparent reason. He's playing just like the AI in Pokemon battles, like just avoiding the inevitable, and delaying the inevitable is the term, not avoiding, because he's going to get knocked out by Blizzard. But my opponent goes for Double Protect here, and I realized this turn why he was going for Double Protect, because my turns of Reflect are dwindling down. Actually, this turn right here is the last turn of Reflect, and this is exactly what my opponent needed, because with Reflect down, Scyther should be able to knock me out, and I was hoping with Reflect up, I would be able to live an Ariados from the Scyther. If he was choice banned, I'm sure I still would have died, but I'm pretty sure the Scyther is not choice banded because I was just looking at the damage earlier from U-turn, and I'm pretty damn sure he's not banded, but he's gonna go for Ariados here, and since Reflect wore off because of the low protect, we're going to get knocked out by the Ariados, and we're actually going to lose to Madison to an 0-1 loss. That was a very close game to Madison, a good game to Madison and Bacon. I hope you guys enjoyed these PU Wi-Fi battles, showcasing some of the recent drops. I know I didn't use any of the recent drops, but I kind of forgot about them while I was throwing this team together. I'm sorry, I don't really have many of the Pokemon that were dropped anyway. I need to breed some soon. If you guys enjoyed this PU Wi-Fi battle and really want to support my channel, the best way to support my channel is to hit the thumbs up button, as it really helps on my channel a lot more than you think. It helps get my videos out in recommended boxes and sub boxes, and helps the algorithm out a lot. And I really appreciate all of you guys who take them out of your day to watch my content. Leave a like and comment on the question of the day, which is going to be, out of all the Pokemon that have dropped down to PU, which is Qwilfish, Omastar, Scyther, Yuxi, Aromatisse, and Altaria, which of these 6 Pokemon do you think are going to impact the tier the most? Let me know in the comments down below which Pokemon out of the 6 I listed do you think are going to impact PU the most, and why, because I'm pretty curious to see what you guys' thoughts are on these drops. I don't think any of these Pokemon are going to get banned. Maybe Omastar, though I highly doubt it because Omastar was PU before and it wasn't banned. So I'm pretty sure it's not going to get banned. Also, you can just outplay it with Snatch, which I really wanted to use Snatch on this team as well, but I didn't quite fit room for it. And I used Meowstic to counter team the new meta instead. But yeah, I think that Qwilfish and Frostlass are probably make the biggest impacts on the meta. Scyther is very, very threatening in its own right, but I think we have the tools to deal with it. And Aromatisse is really cool because PU has very few fairy types, and I feel like this is finally Aromatisse's time to shine, because in every other tier it was in since its release, it's just been so underwhelming as a Pokemon. But now it could be a nice Wish Passer, a nice Calm Mind, Nasty Plot, Sweeper, it learns Trick Room. There's a lot of nice uses for it in PU, and I'm very happy that Aromatisse is in PU. And Altaria, it's Altaria. I don't think it should have been NU in the first place, but I think it was NU just because of defog and the fact that it checked the M-board, which was like a really big threat at the time. And I think it's not banned from NU if I recall correctly, so that's why Altaria went to NU. I think same for Qwilfish as well, but Qwilfish is definitely a lot more useful than Altaria just because of the spikes you can learn and Intimidate. So I think out of all those Pokemon, Qwilfish and Scyther impact the tier the most. But let me know in the comments down below which Pokemon out of all these drops you think are going to impact the tier the most. But that's going to be the question of the day. Thank you guys so much for watching till the end of the video. I will check you guys next time. Bye.